Hello besties, my name is Dylan Bridge and welcome to my channel. Today I'm drawing a character I made a while ago named Willow, but not only am I going to be drawing, but we're also going to be talking about some comics. For those who have seen me stream on Twitch, I do tend to talk about comics a lot and tend to show off my ever-growing Google document about my comics. I mainly get X-Men and Daredevil, but I do also really love picking up the cool looking covers. And that's how I found out about this one called The Last Mermaid. So it was like about a year ago, and I hopped on a train over to Chicago with my mom. And we waved out in taxi for the first time. And we went to the store with like a very small comic section. And I found this really cute axolotl on the cover. And I just needed it in my life, not gonna lie. And they had like the very first two issues of The Last Mermaid. I never heard of it before this, but I was like, ooh, that looks cool, give it. And so far, only 6 comics have been released, and I'm really ready for some more. The comics were made by Derek Kirk Kim and published under Image Comics. It's a quick read with absolutely stunning artwork. And with some spoilers ahead, I'm going to tell y'all about it. So it starts off with this post-apocalyptic type beat world, and with a sandstorm just finishing up. And we don't know the name of our mermaid, of the last mermaid, if you will. But she drives this thing called a Havoc, which stands for Hybrid Aquatic Vehicle Chamber. And of course, we have her axolotl, Lottie. And she is everything. But there's a constant problem going on throughout these comics. It's a water toxicity level. It keeps on going hella high because, you know, they don't really have access to fresh water in the apocalypse. And so, like, we see it rise up to 87%, like 90, 93. It's crazy. And this Havoc, not only is it, like, what she lives in pretty much. It's like pretty much a transformer. It can stand up. It can go into car mode. It's sick. She sees something off in the distance, heading west. And so that's the way that our mermaid girlie takes it to. So they're heading towards this bridge. And there's this dramatic looking guy up there. He's wearing a mask with a crack on the right side and it's like glowing. And then that's where we see the water toxicity go up to 90%. I'm talking like I'm a weatherman. And we see Lottie struggling as it gets even higher. And that even makes our mermaid girl pass out. And so then the Havoc sinks to the bottom of this cave. There's gonna be lots of caves. They love going into caves. Lottie wakes her up because she spots some food and, you know, we gotta eat what we gotta eat, you know? They have to chase it down and crash through this hole in this cave. But oh no, the glass breaks and water starts leaking out. And we're like, oh shit, what's gonna happen? And she gets a little stuck in the Havoc, but because the limbs are holding on to her in there, she falls out. And then, like, we see a tiny plant, so that's when we know there's some water down there, but she passes out again. And then comic 2, it starts off with her having to repair the Havoc, at least just like a little bit to get them out of this tricky situation. Once you get it just enough, she jumps out of the hole and they find some water, so they're able to get out of the Havoc, swim around a bit, you know, be free, be a little silly goofy. She's able to turn invisible, so she uses that to hunt down some food for the two of them. Or mainly her. Because she gets some fishies and Lottie slurps up her little wormies. And then they do some more repairs. Or she does some more repairs. Lottie just looks like a little icon. There's another Havoc down there. But there's a problem because it has a skeleton in it. Also, around the Havoc, there's a bunch of pretty shells. And of course, more worms for our favorite axolotl. In the sand, besides just the pretty shells and worms, there's also a spine and also a huge pile of bones. What the hell? And that's when we see a big old fishy, and it tries to eat Lottie. The absolute drama of the fish. Unbelievable. Well, with comic 3, it starts off with our girly, of course, saving Lottie from this big fish. And not only can she turn invisible, but she also has these giant mermaid claws. And she slashes the fish to save Lottie. But then it also reveals that the fish is not really a fish. It's this beast-like creature, and it has wings. So they're trying to swim away, and the Havoc gets yoinked. But they do manage to get to the Havoc, so that's pretty epic. But they're not the only ones that get out of this tricky situation, because the fish is also still following them. Surprise, surprise, the masked guy from the bridge. He saves them. He has a bow staff, very Gambit core. And it's charged with electricity. So he uses that to stab the fish, but that also blasts him off, and his mask falls off, and he continues fighting the fish. But it falls, and he falls into its mouth. And our girlie has to decide if she wants to save him, and she does. So with comic 4, we also start with action. But this time not with saving Lottie, but saving that guy. So she punches the fish, and our now unmasked mask guy has her throw him over the fish so he can throw his staff into its head to explode it. Sounds like a solid plan to me. So she does that, and her Havoc gets absolutely covered in blood. It's nasty. But he's a little gentleman, so he wipes it off, and also fixes up the Havoc for her. And with her culture, she gets really confused on why someone would help her, because how she grew up in this post-apocalyptic type world, and all this shit. She's like, the only people that ever help you is the mutants that want to eat your liver. So she's confused, because like, what if he wants to eat her liver? What the fuck? She wants to keep her liver, but thankfully he does not want to eat her liver. He's come to the belief that the only way to survive out here is with helping others, like with the small amount of people that you find around. He's about to leave, but she has a question. She asks him if he's seen this giant trident that impales the sun. She was told that it would take her home. Her mom told her that when she was really little. Luckily for her, he had seen it 1,500 kilometers north, past the Great Trench and the Black Sands, behind the Iron Mountains. So he starts walking away, thinking, she's gonna follow, but she doesn't. So he's like, come on, what you doing? So then she follows after that. She thinks this open world as they're traveling looks like death, and he thinks it looks like absolute freedom to go wherever he wants. But to be fair, he doesn't depend on the water she's in all the time to be alright. He finds this broken down city, and there's a dead mutant in there. There's some birds around the body, so he kills them, or kills some of them at least, and cooks them up for some din-din. And the two are talking, and she still doesn't really trust him, but we do get to learn his name, and his name is Tariq, but she's still a mystery. Comic 5 starts off like really cute because it has Lottie chewing on the leftover bones from the bird. It stops being cute from there because the vibes are still tense between Tariq and our girly pop. So it's like nighttime now, and they're gonna do some watching. So Tariq takes the first watch, and our girly goes to bed. She claims that her Havoc has an incredible alarm system, and it'll alert if anything gets near her. So guess what happens? It doesn't fucking work, because he kills a bug right on the glass of the Havoc, waking her up from this like nightmare, or this dream or whatever. And it's like, I thought you had an alarm system. So that was pretty cute. Like, I love their bickering. So once morning comes around, they are back on their adventure, and then they reach the mountains. Normally, you would go around because it's fucking dangerous to go up there and shit. But because her water toxicity, is at 68%. She wants to get there as quick as possible. So she starts climbing up the mountain and she's being really quick about it. But that means that she starts slipping and starts to fall. And Tariq is on top of the Havoc. So he has to quickly use his bow staff to make sure he doesn't fall off. But then that breaks. So she has to jump down to save him. He realizes there are mutants nearby. As soon as she spots them, pretty much the mutants leave on their bikes, and turns out those mutants were actually scouts. So they start chasing those mutants once they realize what the fuck is going on. They split off, of course, because there's only two, so 1v1 and then another 1v1. And one of them calls our girly pop Sushi. She hates that. And then we can hear a roar off into the distance. And then onto the last comic, both our characters take out the mutants. Slay, good job. They did it. That roar was actually the mountain erupting. Oops. The adventure does not end there though. They spot the trident off into the distance, and she starts to tell him about her mom. And her mom had told her about the ocean and whatnot when she was 5. She grew up in this world. It's been rough. And of course, like most comic book main characters, her mom is dead. It's kind of a given, huh? But we also don't know anything about her dad. Or she has a dad. Whatever. We only know that the mom is dead. Tariq does something really special. He makes a promise that they're going to make it to the ocean for her. And then something really sweet happens. She gives him the first necklace she ever made, using the shells that she found back in comic 2 by all the bones. That's the first necklace she ever made. It was so sweet. And we finally get to learn her name. I don't know if I'm saying it correctly, but we find out it's Isla. And then they continue on their journey after that cute little moment. And they spot some more fighting, of course. And not only do they spot mutants, they're cyborg mutants. And one of them is a really hot mammoth. Oh my gosh. And they're fighting some humans at the bottom of this cave. They went to this cave because she was trying to find some water. I really gotta get water. But they're watching from the top, like I tend to do in Fortnite with my friend Rick and Beck. When we get to the top 10 or whatever, we tend to watch the fighting and then we go in. And then the mutants take the 2 humans to this water cave, the one that Isla was planning on going to, and now she has to risk it another week or so, or whenever they can find more water. And also there's this zoom in on one of the humans that's gonna be important later on, but we don't know who that is. And that's how the first 6 issues ended, but honestly they were really good. I would definitely recommend it, even if you're not that big in comics. The art is absolutely stunning. I cannot get over it. It's gorgeous. Get it for the art alone, just saying. But really, I'm so glad I picked up those first issues, and I didn't really stay up to date on them. I didn't know when they were released. It was before I really started keeping track in my calendar of when comics were being released. So I had no idea. And I would find them every once in a while, and I would pick them up. And then I found the last 2 for $1 each at one of my local comic shops. And I was like, oh my god, let's go. I've been needing that. Sometimes it feels like faith whenever I just go to a random dollar bin or 50-cent bin and I find what I'm looking for. I'm like, oh my god, it was meant to be. I love just going to whatever bin feels right at the moment. I don't have a system, I just go for it. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. It's my first video like this. I haven't recorded voiceovers in so long. I haven't done video shit in so long, so I really appreciate you watching to the end. Also, I meant to record the drawing on OBS, but I completely forgot to, so sorry. You get the time-lapse and metabang for this one. Hopefully I will remember in the future, but we'll see. And I have so many comics to talk about, so I really hope you like it, because I think it would be really cool to continue. I'm always picking up some more comics. I tend to get a lot of 50 cent comics. A lot of hidden gems in there. I definitely recommend going to your local comic shop and looking through the 50 cent bins. Like, sure, not the best, like, quality, but great stories in there. Who cares if the cover's a little rough? And of course, my social media will be linked down below. So follow me on Instagram, Blue Sky, Twitch, and of course subscribe on YouTube. Leave a like and a comment, and I will talk to y'all later. Have a great day, besties.